Okay, and here we are back in Photoshop to color, and this is the Photoshop document I'll be working in. And here is the imported image from Manga Studio, and I'm going to select all by hitting Control A, then Control C to copy it. And then I'm going to bring it over here. Now normally I don't have the screen quite so I don't show like all my bars usually. I usually just, like for Redline Tuesday, I'm just focused on this middle screen. But I thought it would be nice if you guys could see all my layers and everything. So first I'm going to get rid of all this white, delete, press that down on my lines, and then let's get the paint bucket out. So I'm going to be working kind of quickly here. This is not going to be necessarily like an instructional video, like, you know, here's how I do this and here's how I do this. I'm just going to be sort of bebopping along here at my normal speed. If you have any questions about something in particular, you will have to I'm going to open Lazy Mizumi. Maybe. If you have questions about something in particular, you'll have to put it in the comments, and I'll deal with you later. So we can get rid of that now. If you watch the inks video, you'll know that oh, please don't do that. It does this weird like snappy thing every now and then. I love Lazy Mizumi, but I don't know why it does that. It like gets hooked up on the navigator window. So I'm going to be drawing bullet casing. Sorry, that was my icon folder. I've been like beautifying my desktop. Try human, comic, PSD, chapter 18, page 651. I always forget which way the bullets face on his belt. Okay, pointy end out. I should have known that. There's no real reason why I choose to do this in Photoshop. I just always have. And I apologize if these are like some of the worst drawn shell casings you've ever seen, but they're usually so small that you can barely see them in the final. Oh, I'm having some trouble here. I am rendering while I do this. I'm rendering my last video, which is kind of a trip because I used to never be able to do that before. I used to always have to like stop everything while my videos are rendering, especially near the end there. Near the end, it was getting pretty bad on that old hunk of junk. Everybody always jokes that I draw my bullets like crayons. Woof. Yeah, these are pretty bad. What I might do is when I get done coloring, I might go over top of them a little bit to try to I'm not even sure what kind of rounds these are. This looks like a Hot Topic bullet belt rather than a legit one. Is there even such a thing as a legit bullet belt? I mean, aren't they all just kind of ridiculous these days? I mean, do people actually still wear like bullet bandoliers, I guess? I'm not sure what you would call that, but okay. So now I'm going to do my flats. And I'm going to disable that temporarily. Sigh. I hate when I accidentally forget to ink things. There's like little holes places. I hear some kind of a weird screeching sound outside. I really don't know what to make of that. Also, spoilers for the text, which I didn't even bother turning off. Okay. Should have probably gone with a different. There, I don't think I have that rust color on anything, so shouldn't be able to see it. Oops, I do that a lot. When I'm talking and inking, I tend to forget like little spots. Oh well, no big deal. So the colors are going to look a little gray or like desaturated just because I'm kind of using a weird background color that I wouldn't normally use. So but everything will start to come together once I start like shading and adding the backgrounds in. Hopefully. If it doesn't come together for you, then my apologies. I like to put a little purple in her eye. I originally wanted to give her purple eyes, but I don't like to give the humans in Trying Human non-natural eye colors because there's a group of aliens, well, there's a couple group of aliens, there's a lot of aliens that don't have natural eye colors, and I don't want people getting confused between the two. See, like right here, I'm gonna have to definitely lighten this because this is all like one color, and even once I start shading, it's gonna kind of all blend together. So I'll make an effects layer that kind of lightens this or puts some form of separation between him in the background, her in the foreground, no matter like how thick I make these lines, just because the colors and everything are so similar, they're just gonna blend together. So I'm gonna go through and make sure they're pretty separate from each other. I might even do it like right there a little bit. It's the problem when your characters wear uniforms and they're like packed together like sardines. There's not a lot of rhyme or reason to the way that I color these things. Like I don't sit down and go, oh, now I gotta color the eyes and then I'll do this. Generally I just kind of, wherever my mouse goes first, that's where I head. Let's see. So like here I purposely didn't connect lines because I wanted it to have sort of a an open form. I wanted it to look like the skin connected, you know, there. But to make my life a little easier, I have to draw in the bars. Now here's the deal. This is not my ink layer. Well, I mean it was, but I duplicated it, so now this is my inks, but I have it turned off. But when I turn it back on, it looks fine, you know. So what I can do on this layer, because it's not aliased, it's anti-aliased, I can easily paint bucket in the colors. I don't have to like spend a lot of time. I think I'm gonna make his claws the same color as his horns, which I'm not sure where that color is anymore. It's, like I said, it's been quite... There's his shirt color. I've kind of like lost his palette in amongst the mess. Those are his horns. And where's the open? Oh, that's his hair. Jeez. Yeah, his colors have really like gotten spread out. I'm going to have to sort of consolidate his palette. don't worry, I'll go in and fix those. I'm just trying to figure out where like all his, that's his pants. That's his hair. It's the ammo belt. And I think his pants color was like the actual belt part. Or this, I don't know. Yeah, that looks right. Nope. And then the bullets are like a coppery color. And then his stripes. That's the nice thing about having everything kind of simplified. He has 4 stripes? Demon. I totally didn't remember that. Maybe it's Brevis who has 3. I can't remember now. I'm a bad creator. Oh well, it's like a moot point on most of these pages where you can't see his full body. Now, where's that reptoid mouth color? I should know where that is. There it is. The reptoids used to have yellow teeth, but I thought it looked nasty. It didn't look so bad against the green, I guess, but it kind of looked bad when they were human. And that was like the one thing about the reptoids is I didn't want their teeth to change because they have like fangs and stuff. And it's a good way to be able to tell that they're not human. It's by their teeth and their eyes. So I didn't want to lose that. Okay. So I eventually scrapped the yellow teeth. I think like in some of my very earliest art, like the very first appearances that the reptoids had in the comic, now you can't see it because I redid the pages, but back in the day you could see that they had yellow teeth if you looked closely. But I really don't remember how long that even was about. Oops. Forgot to color some down here. And I guess technically there too. Ooh, another thing I want to do is make his wings look transparent. There's a lot to do for these pages. And then I want this and this. I probably should have mentioned I've been drawing this green over on a new layer so that it doesn't mess up anything. Okay. What else? do the red on his eyes. I try to work on as few of layers as I can, but I try to keep the big stuff separated. You know, like I only do shading on one layer. You know, I do my flats on another. I do like the shines and the shimmers from different objects, like on their own layer, that kind of stuff. Background is all one layer, like all the backgrounds for this will all be on one layer. It keeps it separate, but you can still easily access stuff that you need to get to. Part of the reason I do that is because I am terrible about naming layers. I try to remember while I'm doing videos and tutorials and stuff, but even then I usually have like a notepad next to me or something to remind me to do it. Like, you know, name this layer inks and things like that, because otherwise I won't do it. I'll just forget. But part of that, the reason I don't name layers is because I don't work with a whole lot of layers usually, and I kind of have them memorized at this point. Like, I just know like what goes where. Maybe save for my my effects layers. I usually, like lately, I've had quite a few of those just because there's like a lot more characters in the scenes, a lot of the different species are starting to meet up, so I have to like kind of separate everybody around a little bit just to make sure that like all the characters are readable. So like right now all I'm doing is just going underneath everything, making sure every little bit's filled in, which I think it is. Yeah, cool. That all looks good. Okay, so now I'm going to do this little bit in 8's hair, and I'm going to do this in a similar way that I did these kind of scales, the belly scales on Magnus. I'm going to just add a new layer over top of the pseudo inks flat color layer. I don't know what you'd call this. Here, I'll rename it flats. And this will be the background, and this is my sketch layer. Okay. So, oops. And I'm not going to bother naming this layer because it's about to disappear. So she has like a purple shimmer in her hair, or like an undertone. I'm not sure what you call that, but that's what she got. I actually was curious about like how you would do like a wig for this character, and the closest thing I could find was a wig called Black Cherry that it looked black, but it reflected purple. It was very pretty. But it was like always, like they never had many in stock and it sold out all the time. I was like, oh, sad. I'm definitely the kind of person that I prefer wigs in cosplay over using real hair. Just especially for characters like these that have like really cartoony, funky hair, because I think it helps like really like, oh yeah, that's, you know, that's so and so. It's funny because that's also kind of a thing with drag queens. Is there's definitely like a lot of queens like to use their real hair. It's sort of becoming a thing, and I think older queens don't like it much because that was something that was like a no-no. That was like a cheapness, I think. You know, like you're too cheap to buy a wig. I don't know why we're talking about wigs, but we're talking about wigs right now. Okay. Just trying to make sure that this is all ending the way I want it to. That's like following the contour of her hair. And apparently I missed. Let me make this like electric green for a second and like destroy your retinas. Just so I can see. Oh my goodness, look at all these little places I missed. There. I tend to use darker colors as my temporary background. Well, I said that weird too. Temporary. As my temp background because I have to sit there and stare at a computer screen all day and my eyes will bleed. Yeah, look at this. Okay. So now the flats are done. Now we can start painting our backgrounds. So I have established the hell out of this hallway that they're in. So I am going to be using slightly, I already started to do it, but slightly more fanciful backgrounds. Because I can. Because I'm the boss. I'm going to turn my inks back on. I'm going to lock my flats. Okay. So I've put down like a neutral color here that it's kind of all through this this area, this hallway that they're in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select this panel here and I'm going to go layer via copy. I'm also going to turn my text back on. My text is basically where I want it. I try to get it set in place before I go ink so that if the text bubbles cover up stuff, then I know I don't really need to worry about that part. Same goes with the background. I don't really want to have to worry about stuff that's going to be covered by text bubbles because it's so rare that I'll ever remove these bubbles or like show the panels without the text. So yeah, same deal with like the characters. They cover up so much of the background that I tend not to worry about it. So you notice that I've been going through and I lock the layers as I go. That's to keep from accidentally deleting or drawing on the wrong layer, you know. But this one, these locks are all filled in, which means, and I think, yeah, you do that by hitting this padlock, but the filled in padlock means like you cannot touch that layer. Like I think the only thing you can do is like copy like layer effects, like stuff that's like on top of the layer, and I think that's it. You can't do anything else. Like you can't delete layer effects or anything. But the open padlock means that I can't go anywhere outside of the area that has coloring. You can hear my dog walking around back there. So now that I've duplicated this little panel area up onto its own layer, and I will name this panel 1 so you guys can see it. There. So that's now, you know, all alone and isolated. So now we can go through and start doing some shading. Like I said, I'm gonna go for like a more fanciful color palette here. Or I shouldn't say fanciful, but like fanciful design. So like I've already established they're in this hallway. The lighting's not quite like this exactly, but I'm getting tired of drawing the same kind of like blah hallways. And I want to start showing like that she's like really scared of this guy. So I'm going to put some, like a splash of color behind her. And I think behind him, I'm going to make things a little greener. I think I might also put like maybe a design behind her just to show that she's like really shocked. Sorry, I'm just thinking. This is where the art part comes in, I guess. I guess I could always like erase into the no, I couldn't do that. Let me I'm trying to find a brush that I can like really it's subtle, but forget it. Can't get it to look the way I want it to look. Yeah, I'm gonna let it be for now, but I might come back to it. Yeah, I'm gonna let it be, but I'll probably come back and mess with it a little more. Because I don't like how soft this is, I want something back there. Like, you know what I could do? Let me try, there be a copy. Let me go to filter gallery. What I could do is try I just don't want it to be like really blah. I want to like throw a texture on it. Ugh, I hate this. It's like this is like a classic Photoshop mosaic texture, and people use it all the time, and it just really sticks out. I try to stick to the not so obvious ones. I kind of like that. And then what I can do is see how it goes way out to where I selected. So now what I can do is and then I will do a Oh, I'm trying to remember. Well, actually, could I do a polar? No, can't do polar coordinates. I'm trying to remember if it's zigzag. I think it's a radial blur on zoom. There we go. It's a radial blur on zoom. Sorry, I had to move the blur target. It was kind of like wonky and off to the side a little. Now it's off to that side. There. Now let me see if it'll do it. Yeah, I think that did it. Oh well, you can barely see it. I was trying something. I failed. And then, okay, so now we're gonna do this background. Maybe. I'm gonna pause real quick. I just want to see how a render is going. Okay. Yeah. Okay, it's going good. Sorry. Alrighty, so let's lock this, and get to work. Oh wow, that looks strange. think I would also like, sorry I get quiet every now and then. I get to thinking and stuff. I think I would also like to do oops. Yeah, I think that will look nice if I can just change the way it blends. Sucks. I really want to do these like super saturated panels, but the scene just isn't that saturated. I try to keep the majestic, the scenes where they're like down in this bunker, kind of like drab and stuff, to reflect sort of the motives of the characters there. Okay, and gotta see that panel for now. Come on. Oh, it's locked. I was like, come on, why won't it work? Alright, there we go. So here I need to do a gradient overlay from the left, or the right, sorry. Oops. I don't like the way a lot of time, like when black fades into white, I know this is the way like color and light works, but it's always gray in the middle by default in Photoshop, so I like to change it to a different color in the middle there so it doesn't just go gray over top because it looks really, eh. Doesn't look so good. Okay. And here I actually will go back to just establishing the hallway again on his side of the panel, because he's kind of not having a freak out moment, whereas 8 is. 8's the girl, the purple hair. So in that way, he's kind of like talking to her, and she's like over here having like this like moment, I guess. And so here he's kind of like back in the hallway, kind of like, hey, don't freak out. Man, I had this dream last night, totally off topic, but I keep thinking it's a movie that I saw, and I keep thinking, oh, I want to finish that movie. It was like about possession or demons or something. It was weird. I don't know. I've been really like into demon movies lately for some reason, but I've pretty much drained the barrel on YouTube there. Okay, and then one last background here. This one I think I do want to kind of like establish him in the hallway. Oh, and by the way, so like here are all those backgrounds. They're all together, but down here since this is my last background, I'm just gonna do it like on the layer that it's on. Just 'cause. Okay, so here I kind of like want to show this hallway that he was standing in, like sort of like tapering into the background behind him and getting darker so that it's kind of like a focal point on him. This is the hallway here. He was kind of like around the corner being a jerk. So I know the perspective's like totally off, but I will kind of deal with that in a minute here. And then go to the ceiling. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go behind, there be a copy, and then I'm just going to mirror it over. Because I'm a lazy jerk. And then I will have the edges of the hallway over. Well, you wouldn't even be able to see it on that side, so forget it. Forget it. Man, I don't know what it is, but I just love like stagnant office building decor. Like really crappy looking hallways and stuff. I don't know. I just like it. No, oh man, sorry. I was like, what is it doing? It went to my last setting and went ballistic. I'm gonna blur it a little. And then when I filter gallery it should do something a little more interesting than just stop going to that. I wanted to kind of add in some edges a little bit just to make it look a little sketchy and stuff. I don't need my backgrounds being perfect. I should also probably show there's like a different area behind him, like a different connecting hallway maybe. I'm not sure what you would consider that, but so one thing I get a lot in my videos is that I am not necessarily boring, but that the quiet kind of gets to people, like when I'm concentrating on something and I start to sort of shut up so that I can think or whatever, and some people have said that they don't like that. I don't really know what to tell you because I enjoy peace and quiet, so I don't mind when things get a little shushed. A lot of people want me to put like background music on and stuff. That just ain't my gig, and it's hard enough to find music for the speedrun or the speedruns. Yeah, I speedrun my drawings. It's hard enough finding music for just like the speed draws. That's the word I was looking for. That I don't really want to use music for just like my regular videos where I'm talking and trying to explain stuff. Oh my god, my neighbors. They have a little doggy. She's adorable. And she is a therapy dog. So the kind of dog that like goes to hospitals and sits with the patients and stuff. But she doesn't do so good when she is left alone. And she cries and cries. And even if like one of them is in the bathroom and the other like goes to get groceries or something, that dog, I just, whew, boy. She's sweet as can be, that dog, but I can hear her like crying. You guys probably can't because I do like a lot of sound editing afterwards so that you guys can't hear stuff in the background, but yeah. One time, I don't know if I've told this story before, um, a bunch of people coming back from the swimming pool came over to, we live in like a complex where there's like a pool and stuff. And a bunch of people coming back from the swimming pool came over to the house, and they were like, it was the evening. It was like 7 or 8 in the evening. I think it was like a Friday or something. And they came over and they were like, do you know who lives next door? And I was like, oh, that's so and so and so and so. I don't want to say their names on the video, but and I was like, why? What's up? And they were like, well, their dog has eaten a hole in the screen upstairs and is now out on the ledge. Because we have like these decorative ledge thingies. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I ran outside, and I don't know if like my reaction made them think that I like had an extra key or something, but they just left. And I was like, so I'm standing out there, and meanwhile, the neighbor across from us comes back with groceries, and she's like, oh my gosh, is the dog still out there? And I'm like, still? How long has the dog been out there? And she goes, oh, my husband says the dog's been out there for like, 2 hours now. And the thing that kind of surprised me was once the dog got outside, it didn't cry anymore. The dog was like, I'm free, but I'm gonna kill myself. I'm gonna jump off this ledge and die, But so I'm like, oh my gosh, this is terrible, and I had no idea where my neighbors were. I don't like know them super well, so I didn't know like what their phone number was or anything. And you could see it's a smallish dog. It's like a little terrier mix of some kind. You could see where the dog had like chewed through the screen like a giant like a rat hole. And so I went to, there was an HOA meeting that night, and there was like a little office building near the front of our complex where the HOA meets. So I thought, oh, well, maybe they went to that meeting. So I went over to the meeting and was like, hey, is so-and-so here? Their dog has like escaped out onto like the ledge of one of the buildings. And the thing that I found so funny was when I told the HOA this, they like just sort of went back to, they were like, oh no, they're not here. And I'm like, hello, dog trying to kill itself out on a ledge. But they were real like blasé about the whole thing. So I was like, okay, I can do this. So I start getting all the neighbors, and I'm like, somebody's got to get a ladder, climb up there, and open up the screen, put the dog back inside, and then close the window and come back down.